Al, did you see that NFL game between the Bills and Cincinnati? It was Magnus. It was Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, it was in Cincinnati.
Yeah. I mean, I think unless you're living under a rock, I mean, this game where the cornerback Damar Hamlin just I mean, it was breathtaking in a bad way. What I think most of the country at this point has seen it, whether they watched the game or not. What's up, everybody watching Wellness Week Live? And we're talking about the dangers of American football. And listen, we're not giving any medical advice. Always check with healthcare professionals. But I thought this was interesting to talk about, Magnus, because you've played football at one of the highest levels. European football, and I played football. As a youth, as a teenager, I've coached high school football, and my whole life, like you probably. You and I are both athletes, and I still compete in athletic stuff, not football. But, my point is we're both athletes to this day. We both take care of ourselves. And I thought it would be a great show to talk about football in general, American football. And we were talking off camera. Let's hit it. I mean, you and I both saw it like everybody else. Tell me what you think, because when I first saw the rerun, like I didn't watch the game, but everyone's like, oh, you got to check it out. So I went, and I'm like, okay, seemed like a regular tackle on the kickoff. And okay, he got hit, he fell. I'm like, okay, he gets up. I'm like, I don't see the problem. All of a sudden, you start to see him get oozy, and he passed out. I still was like, okay, that's not good, but I'm not horrified yet, And then it was like, oh shit, like he's not getting up.
Like looking at it, it was a very different. Like usually when you see people get a concussion, you
head to head or something.
Yeah, or you're laying down, you're not getting up. This guy popped up fairly quickly,
right?
And then, like you said, he fell just like straight backwards. I was watching the game live, so it was a bit of a shocker to me. I have not been searching it out and watched reruns of it because I don't think that is good, and it's not like fair towards the people involved in it either.
Right. So, by the way, I mean, for all practical purposes, we watched a man die because he did die. His heart stopped. It was a wrap. So, I mean, they had to resuscitate him. I think twice or at least once with the electrical pads, the defibrillators. I mean, we watched a young man pass away and be brought back to life. I mean, that's horrific. But the thing that really threw me, because everyone's like, "Oh my God, pray for this guy." I didn't see it yet. As like, okay, I thought I was gonna watch like him get dumped on his neck or something, or break his neck, or his femur split in half. I didn't. When I first saw it, I was like, initially, like I said, he got back up. I'm like, okay, I don't see the problem. And then you see him pass out. Like, oh, okay. I'm still thinking maybe it was just I don't know. You could do your bell rung, you pass out. I'm not. I think like most people, you're not thinking. And then as every second went on, you see, no, this was different. This was not somebody passing out. This was far, far more dark and bad. And now we know, okay, yeah, this man died on the field, got brought back to life. They had to bring him back again, I believe, at the hospital. And so I don't know.
That was actually false information. So it was just once, and because it did not happen at the hospital. So that was, they came out with saying that was false information. Okay. So I just wanted to clear that up. So cool, once is more than one time, like, which it shouldn't even have happened.
Right. And so, this kind of puzzled me, and I think a lot of people, right? Because, I mean, there was no spearing involved. There was no there was no head to head. It was really, he just took a hit to the chest, right?
Yeah.
And so, but now, after I did a little bit of reading on this, and I'm sure probably you did too, he had a, a cardiac arrest, which is not a heart attack. There's two different, so for people not watching, I know Magnus, you're a PhD in biochem, but for people who don't know, so one is electrical, one is the piping. So a heart attack is your tubes, your arteries get clogged, and blood can't get to the brain or the heart, and you die, or you have a heart attack. What he had was cardiac arrest. That's electrical. So when he got that impact to his chest, that overthrew and threw the electrical circuitry off to the heart. It made the heart go into an arrhythmia, an off beating. And this is what blacked him out. And his body couldn't naturally get back into the rhythm. He had a cardiac arrest, a arrest of the electrical unit, your what do you call it? the electricity that gets pumped to our heart naturally from our neurons, electrons, or whatever. Not the veins and arteries.
Which is completely fascinating. And I just wanted to drop that in. When I read that the physiology about how the heart works, it's just nuts.
Right. I mean, we're talking electricity. Electricity was stopped. We forget we are electricity, literally. So the all these down to the molecular level, and electrons and neutrons are firing off that keeps that heart going, got thrown off from that hit. By the way, many years ago, a young boy died from the exact same injury, not a tackle. It was Little League baseball. A little boy, baseball hit him in the chest. Yeah. Now, everyone gets hit everywhere, but it hit him so perfectly, it threw it gave him an arrhythmia, a cardiac arrest, and the boy died. Yep. So the same exact thing happened to Damar Hamlin, where, again, hit him in the right spot, right way. But thank God he's hopefully on the mend. It seems like he is. My point is, this is kind of segueing now, any sport you play, no parents are going to be like, oh my God, football's dangerous. It is, but you had a Little League boy die. I mean, so now I don't know what the solution is here. We're going to get into it. But so anyways, this is what happened to the cornerback from the Bills. A 20-something-year-old man, the prime of his life, hit him the right way. And, he must have been hitting his chest a bazillion times in his life. This one just hit a right angle, right way, right timing, literally down to the millisecond.
Right force also. And to be honest, when I looked at it, it looks like the receiver, the guy that carries the ball, he cut into the defensive player and caught him a little bit off balance and off kind of like your timing is off in the tackle. So instead of coming low and try to hit him with the front of your shoulders, he get basically hit in the chest with the
helmet,
and shoulder pad or whatever of the offensive player.
It was inadvertent. It wasn't done on purpose, but it was a type.
Not at all. And that's another scary fact that people are. It's the guy that was the ball carrier. His name is T. Higgins, a Cincinnati guy, and he has received death threats from
right.
this.
Yeah, that's not.
And they're blaming him. And I mean that is completely disgusting in my world.
There's no way. And these are people, whoever's giving them death threats, they never played a fucking sport in their life, okay, much less football. Because like you played, I played. I mean, forget it. The amount of injuries, I mean, you're going to get it, and I don't care. Even if you're playing volleyball, you're going to get injuries, and you hope they're not life-threatening, but it could happen to anyone. Obviously, football is a little bit more, contact, but yeah, that's ridiculous, the death threats. I mean, this poor man on the other side that inadvertently caused this because it's part of the game, he must be on suicide watch. I just
he probably feels horrendous.
Yeah, and I pray for him. He didn't want to do this. He didn't want to do this. He didn't want to, and God forbid, Damar passes away or anything like that. The receiver that had the collision with him has to go through therapy. He should go to therapy now. I mean, it's just a cascading effect of, innocent thing that happened. And anyways, I hope that this young man pulls through, Damar. And so let's talk about helmets. I mean, now, I'm not saying that this could have cured anything, but let's be honest. I mean, again, you've played football, I play football. The way the football helmet's made, even today, even though they modified it, it is still a weapon. It should not be a weapon. They should go back, and they're not going to do this because it's all about this, because they got billion-dollar contracts with the way the helmets are now, but they should go back to the 1920s, soft helmets similar to rugby, because that would have solved, I believe, a lot of problems. Maybe not this one. Maybe it would have, but you're looking at that helmet coming in at maybe 20 miles an hour on a 200-pound man, plus, I mean, shame on the NFL. I mean, they got to get on this, man, like really change these helmets.
They're trying, but
yeah,
I mean, it's hard. They dug themselves into a pretty deep hole when it comes down to it. And also when they also have been so like hard on not like their way has always been, it's not causing concussions and it's not causing like health issues.
Yeah, well, now again, this is a way a conversation has to happen now, because the helmet was part of this problem. Now, could have happened without the helmet, sure, but the helmet was part of the. By the way, I'd make the argument the shoulder pads are also part of the problem, because the shoulder pads are also, as a ballistic type of plastic, and then the foam underneath it. I think it should just be a much a firmer foam, but no plastic. Because again, these young men are throwing their bodies around thinking like, well, I'm invincible because I have this harder shell, but that's what's causing a lot of the problem. So I think they should go back to more of like a rugby style where it's softer pads or no pads in certain places. That would not cure everything, but it would, do a lot of help. And by the way, kudos to the NFL because they have done a lot of different protocol, a lot of different, like for instance, I think they kicked the ball off from a shorter distance now, not from deeper in the football field, which is a good thing. They have practices that are
not allowed, and also you're not allowed to run up towards the kickoff either. You maximum you're allowed to line up 1 yard away from where the ball is lined up.
Right.
So you're not getting that, and you're not allowed to go in together as a wedge. And basically almost hold hands and run over people and run into people. So they're trying, and I think it's sad that you also have this kind of like negative backlash of saying, "Oh, when I used to play, it was more macho, and this is like not football anymore," and things like that. The thing is, like, I think we need to protect the people and individuals allowed more than like. If you need to go and see gladiator games, I mean, luckily we don't have that anymore when we have people killing each other for sports.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned that. You got it's the American way. It's probably human nature too. But all the old farts, the generations in the past, when I was a kid, when we played basketball, we played football. Listen, you literally have it with life and death. When bulletproof vests came out for police, okay? All the old cops were like, you're a sissy, you wear a vest, you're not a good cop. What's it? Yeah, now we accept it. Like, of course you wear a bulletproof vest. Well, similar mentality, we need to change the things in the NFL to protect these athletes. Okay, you can't say, we did it, you should do it. No, that's asinine. When you modify and you think and you correct and you change for the better, you protect these young men, their lives. I mean, this is craziness. So.
But looking at it, I think this kind of points it out is that like this injury and accident kind of shows you that people don't want that anymore. Most of us are concerned about it, and it's like and the thing is also because everybody saw it live. We saw it actually live happen on TV. There's many cases of when players like actually kids dying on the field for different things like it still happens like usually a death a year or so in or even more in sports. And I mean I think that this, like, if they're smart, they use this and ride on it, and actually like there has to be more change. I mean, I'd rather see a safer sport that doesn't have the same like cool highlights,
right?
But it's better for the viewer, and it's better for the players and people involved in it.
You can still have highlights and have it. Matter of fact, I think you can make the NFL much safer and more awesome. I mean, if anything, I would say the critique about it being kind of boring is that it's start, stop, first down, second down, third down. You know what? Maybe do other things that can help keep the game going, and you can still keep it safe though. But yeah, it's. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about entertainment here. This is not Navy SEALs. This is not the Navy SEALs that have to be hurt in training because it's the real deal. You got to work with live fire bullets. This is a game. You play football. It's entertainment. Stop hurting these men. And so I think the other thing is, I was going to say is that football. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, I just think that they got to do more to protect these players. And now's a good time, right, to start to think about these things and have a conversation and continue with better protocols and better equipment and more safety issues and things like that. And
using natural surface, actually going back to a grass field. It's like. And this is something that players have been talking about a long time.
Though the new fields are pretty good, though, dude. I don't know. I mean,
but it comes down to like grass fields. They feel safer on it, and I think that is like just having like that. You feel like your environment is safer will probably like help out. I mean, because your feet doesn't get stuck as easily compared to turf.
Yeah.
So and those things. I mean, another thing that we should actually mention too is the tremendous skills and fast acting of the training staffs on both fields and the stadium.
Yeah.
That the ambulance came in quickly and got him off the field and to a hospital really, really fast. So
if that happened in the street, he'd be dead.
yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing when we're talking about that young baseball player when it happened, because and this is why I wanted to segue too, is that I think that's why it's so important that people go and learn CPR, so they're able to observe things like that and they know what to do, and also continuously doing it. Like, I think I usually used to practice it like every other year in my old work. We had it like we had to do it like every other year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think companies should continue doing this. Schools should continue doing this. Everybody should know this skill and be able to perform it.
100%. Heimlich maneuver too. I mean, people died choking. I mean,
I've done it twice I've done it twice in my life. That
me too. I can tell you right now, I literally saved 2 people with the Heimlich. 100%. You know, and they told me so, the people that I would say. But yeah, you know, real quick, that's what I want to mention, Magnus, is that, and we're talking about football or hockey or these contact sports, the most dangerous, you know, crazy, darkest injuries, you know, death or paraplegic. But what about the aggregate effect, the stacking of injury, broken wrist, broken arm, you know, you bust your jaw,
brain trauma.
Right. I mean, and the person retires from the NFL or hockey or basketball, but they have injuries their whole life after this. Magnus, I mean, I played up to high school. You played further. Just me playing high school, I am still banged up from football and basketball and wrestling. Okay, I mean, and baseball. By the way, my worst injury, my most heinous injury, was from the holy one, baseball. So safe, baseball. Nobody. I love these parents that they're all for baseball because football. So, by the way, again, God forbid, but a little boy died. Okay, baseball. Okay, 36 stitches in my eye. My skull was exposed. Okay, I was playing simple catch with the glove and ball and mitt. Okay, just playing catch. Okay, sent me to the ER. 36 stitches in my eye. To this day, the one eye is kind of droopy. My point is, I could have lost my eye easily. Yeah. So, you know, I think, but I want to say about this too. It's like, you know, but all that said, we're kind of shitting on football, but I would not change a thing. I'm glad I played football. It taught me a lot about life. You know, and I would encourage parents, you know, if you're going to, by the way, now in America, they have flag football leagues for young kids. My nephew plays it. He's like 12, and they have flag football. I think it's great. I think, you know, football teaches you so much about life. All sports do, you know, but football does, I think, in many ways more than anything else. But again, you know, parents, if you're not going to play American football, that's fine. But I think playing sports is a good thing. And again, everything comes with a risk. And if you play sports, I don't care if it's ping pong, soccer, baseball, you're going to get hurt. It's going to happen. So, but
you can trip over and stumble and hit your head on basically all sports. I mean, like whatever, golf, everything. Right.
So, but I think the positives outweigh the negative. That's
one thing that I want to add there too is like, if you have kids that are involved in sports, I think it's up to you also to prepare them for sports too. And you see a lot of people, they spend a whole lot of money on different camps, you know, like technique camps and things like that. Yeah. But very few parents actually have their kids strength train.
Right.
And you can start strength training or doing other sports that you actually build strength in, like just body weight stuff, you know, like push-ups and lunges and pushing a sled and dragging a sled, stuff like that, which is perfectly fine for basically all ages. It's just that you need to observe and do things right. Like for it doesn't matter your age. I mean, even if you're 80 years old, you need to have a good technique when lifting. But you actually prepare your kids and their bodies so they're actually protected. It's the same thing, like having more muscles on top of your skeleton. First of all, you have more muscle tissue, which is actually act as a armor, basically. Soft tissue is so you don't break bones or organs get hurt. And then ligaments and all those things, you strengthen those up so you can actually perform better. And if like you can actually hinder injuries in that way. So that's something that I would like put some money and time and effort into actually strength training. And also your kid is better off is playing and training for different sports because they don't get overuse injuries that easily too. There
Right.
needs to be an off season. There needs to be time for the kids to recover.
Right.
And you usually see this happen even more with girls than boys, that girls end up playing their sport year round. And that's why you see a lot of issues with like ACL tears and other knee injuries and things like that. So take care of your kid, like actually have them start like physically training too, and to protect their bodies.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so, yeah. And so I think a lot of parents, again, they're going to say, oh, I'm not sending my kid to play football. Okay, fine. But, there's other sports that are safer. But again, no sport is 100% safe. So I know some parents that have pulled their kids out of all sports, which is really sad because sports prepares you for life. School prepares you for a job. And, I don't know what I would do without the sports background that I had in my life.
Yeah, for sure. And not just that, it also like from a physical standpoint, that the kids are being active. We're starting to see more and more people are sitting still doing nothing.
Right. Because childhood obesity, that's okay. That's not a health problem.
Yeah, no, and it's like and also like, well, it doesn't have the like what you're eating is like, come on, like we need to do better. And we also need to like talk about it, that there is some problem, but it's also like an onion. This is not just a simple solution. There's many layers to this, and we need to be open-minded and talk about it, and not saying like that's only one problem and there's one solution. It's not. Like each and every individual, like there's more like a solution for each individual, but we have to address that with that individual.
Yeah.
So I just like read into it also that I want to bring up. So actually the condition that happened, it's called commotio cordis. So it's basically a blunt force trauma that hits basically your chest cavity, and it happens to like it's. I think in the States it happens to around 20 people a year. So and this could happen. Like usually it's actually through sports, like when we're talking a contact or collision sports, like you mentioned, baseball, martial arts, you have football, ice hockey, things like that. So it happens, and it's something that people need to be aware of. And I also think that it's important that with sports that they actually have also the equipment to save lives.
Right.
So and also have someone that have some kind of medical background, or at least have some certifications, or know how to do CPR and things like that.
Yeah, for any sport.
And also be ready. Also be ready to be able to call 911 straight away. Know where the closest hospitals are at, and all those things.
Yeah.
It is important to be proactive.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about every game, every sport, but which is, I guess it's cost prohibitive, and there's only so many ambulances and people around. But yeah, ideally it'd be nice to have medical personnel at every single game for kids, teens, adults, whatever. But to your point, as parents, if our kids are playing sports, we should take it upon ourselves to learn CPR, learn the Heimlich, have a little medical Band-Aids and stuff in our car, whatever. I mean, but yeah, something like this obviously is very severe. But again, CPR, knowing CPR, we can't put everything on these experts because the experts might not be there sometimes. And so you might be the only person that can, at least start the CPR. And like you said earlier, Magnus, it costs almost nothing to learn CPR. Better have some kind of idea what to do. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to say. I mean, again, I hope this guy, Damar Hamlin, seems like he's on the mend. It seems like it's going to be a process, not just a couple days, but probably weeks. Hopefully sooner than later, he'll be back up and can resume his life.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would imagine he's not going to play football anymore. But as long as
Well,
he's healthy,
I think, to be honest, I think he's coming back to play. As long as he's medically cleared, I think that he will do it. From what I've heard, like his personality and things like that. And also I think that one thing that I have to say also, the amazing people that has been like sending all the hopes and wishes for his well-being, and also his like his GoFundMe page that went from
yeah, for the
under
toys
$3,000
for
to
kids.
what we, I think it was over $5.5 million
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. I'll tell you what, it would be very motivational to see him come back on the field, no doubt. That would
Yeah,
be, I would start crying. I mean, what a motive. That'd be a movie right there. That's movie stuff right there.
yeah,
But I mean, hey, whatever he decides, God bless him. And I hope that he does go on the field. But I guess the doctors would be able to determine and tell him, look, you cleared, or you're cleared to live a life, but you should
yeah.
be on the football field. I mean, because God forbid that were to happen again to him. That's a big, like, come on, man. You got a second lease on life and you did this to yourself. Like, so I guess he has to talk to his doctors and his family and whatnot. But it would be amazing to see him out there again to finish a season or something or whatever. But I'm just hoping, as I'm sure I speak for you too, I hope he just is healthy and able to just live, and not
Yeah.
be
No,
that's
definitely fingers crossed for that guy. When like I was watching, so I was up watching the news and looking at the web page and trying to get updates on what was going on for hours after it actually happened. I was sitting on the computer at my kitchen table, basically in shock. It's like what I just witnessed, and also, and I think that we're not gonna name any names, but the TV station or whatever you're supposed to call it, they did a good job that they cut out. They didn't go into it. They brought in their analysts,
right.
which former players and things like that. And I think that they did a good job about talking about what their feeling was at the moment, and also like the feelings of people around them. And I think that is also an important to understand that even if you're not close to it, this could definitely have a big effect, like a shock to people, like people, and people might need like help, like talking about it too.
Right.
It's trauma.
Well, absolutely. But I think what was so scary about this injury was initially it didn't look like much. That's
Not
why
at
it's so
all.
scary. When I first heard about it, I was expecting like fireworks and explosions and blood everywhere. And in a way, this is more scary because it seems so benign and so
Yeah.
relatively normal. And I'm like, holy shit, like something that seems routine could be so devastating. That's more scary.
But that's also like you heard, and I'm the same way. You hear from a lot of like ex players, current players, and so on, that we know that we can't have an ACL tear or like concussion and things like that. This was actually like you saw it firsthand. Someone actually died.
Yeah, we
Like you
witnessed the
said.
death, 100%.
And another thing is that like a lot of the injuries we don't see that are gruesome, like you see the knee and foot is bending the wrong way, like compound fractures and things like that. We seldom hear how bad they could become too. Like I remember Alex Smith, that quarterback, when he had his like really bad leg break, that he problems with the surgery he got, like staph infection and things like that, and so he nearly lost his life too. But this was after that, like things that happens on the hospital that we don't get to see live.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to the original thing I was saying. Like football, man, you can make it through a season but still be banged up and hurt, and they got to do better to protect these men in all sports and women too in the pros. But the other thing I want to say is like there might be some people out there, I'm sure there are, that would say this stupid comment. Well, I don't get what's the big deal, dude? He's a football player. He's just another person. So many people die every year. I understand that, but you know what? You don't see people dying on live television. Like, holy shit.
For other people's entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Like, you could say, yeah, everyone dies every day of different things, but you're not watching it live on TV. Like, holy shit. Like, that it brought the humanity when you saw him pass away, and pass out on the field. You didn't see a football player. You saw a human. Okay.
Yeah.
It was just like, holy shit, this young almost a boy. He's in his early 20s. I could be his dad.
He's
You know,
24 years old.
I could be his father. You know,
I could be his
literally.
dad too.
I mean, I'm old enough. You too, right? You know, but it's just like you see this. So it's not about sport. It's about the humanity of it. You know, it's like, wow, this human being passed away on the fucking football field. So if anybody that's going to talk that stupid shit, like, oh, but people die everywhere, all over the world. I know that, but this is something again that we saw live. Okay, and the other thing I would say is that I heard someone saying a day or so ago, oh, why is everybody asking about all this shit? Why this and why that? Well, they should just be concerned that it gets better. To the person that wrote that, I would say, you know, look, people aren't trying to be bad. They just human nature. We want to know, like, how's he doing or what's going on. It's just a human thing to be curious because especially these athletes, we claim them as our own. We wear their fucking names on our backs. I mean, it's more, you know, so you almost see them as family in a way. So you're worried. It's worried. It's not being nosy or being disrespectful. It's like you want to know, and you want to know now because it's like you care about this person, even though you don't know them. It's like you know them, and you know, and you hear good things about him, and he's playing on television. And again, you're a fan. It's more of a human connection. It's not to be nosy or to be rude, but you want to know, how's he doing? What are they doing? What happened? You know, so it's when people kind of, I think
that's human nature. I mean, right. I think that is more human nature that like then the opposite, that you don't care at all, you know?
Right. Well, somebody was saying in a thread, just like, well, why is everybody asking all these questions? They should just be hoping he's okay. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, they're asking because people are just, they care. That's all. It's not to be rude or hurtful or nosy. It's just, wow, what happened? What kind of medical provisions is he be giving? What's the latest status? You want to know, you know, like it's, and if you don't want to know, that's fine. Don't know. But if people do want to know, it's not to go be evil. It's just to you're curious, you know. Again, we it's almost like you feel like these are your, you know, these are my guys. These are the people that I root for.
You could be a fan, you know, that right. could be your favorite player or whatnot, or your son and daughter's favorite player, you know, like.
Yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, it looks like he's on the mend. I hope to God. I mean, from what I read about this condition, though, it's a literally a minute by minute thing. I mean, he's not out of the woods. He's still in critical condition, and you know, and then once hopefully he will get out. My understanding is you got to go through, you know, I guess physical therapy or other therapies. You just don't walk out of the hospital and like, okay, let's go down the shore, everybody. Like, it's something that takes some time. It's not. Yeah. It's not.
It's an observation thing because you want to see that the heart is very like functioning correctly. That there was no like damage. You know, like did he get enough oxygen? What happened with his brain? They need to do all those scans and things like that. Luckily, I mean, looking at it, he's a pro athlete, so he's going to get the best. He will have the best doctors and physical therapy around. Oh, yeah. Luckily, also, he's a healthy young man. Otherwise, I haven't heard anything that he had any previous health conditions or anything like that. So, so, but it's also it also, that is something that I want to like bring up too. Even the healthiest individual, like things like this could happen to the most healthiest individual. You never know when there's going to be an accident and how bad it's going to be. The things that usually looks like nothing really happened, like in this case, could be the worst thing that happens, you know?
Of course. You had a very famous model many years ago. She got into a relatively simple car accident. Everything was fine, you know, walked away, you know, went home, everything's good. Never woke up dead. She had internal hemorrhaging from something that wasn't even a devastating accident, but the way I guess the seatbelts dug into her or whatever, you know, so yeah. And then you got people who the car blows up 10 times, rolls over 50 times, and then they walk away and they're fine. You know, life is weird, man. And you gotta be careful. And it seems like he's on the mend, and I hope and pray for this young man. I mean, it's you know, the damn country is rooting for him. And you know, anyway, so that's that. But Magnus, anything else before we wrap it up?
Yes, again, like when we have like something like traumatic happen to us like this, I think most of the people feel like it's a traumatic experience, is that I just love to see how people comes together and actually, like, you know, like there's something to share for. This actually something like there's a hope for humanity actually when you see things like this.
Black, white, gay, straight, rich, poor people.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't matter. Again, it's like you don't even have to like donate any money. It's just that you're concerned and that, like you said, like you're actually involved in it, and hopefully, like trying to take something like this and make it into something positive, that we take care of one another, and that we understand that sports is just sports, it's entertainment. It's like watching a movie or playing a video game. And we need to understand that, like, yes, the pro athletes earns a lot of money, but you even see a lot of athletes that don't, like, basically pay to do their sports, and support them, and be happy that people are actually out and doing these amazing things too on the fields and tracks.
Absolutely. Well said, Magnus. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to wrap this bad boy up. But yeah, everyone, be careful, be safe out there if you're playing sports. And anyways, but always good talking to you, Magnus. So check back in, everybody. We got another great show coming up, and that is it, everyone. So thank you, Magnus. Thank you, everybody. I'm signing us out.
You guys, stay safe. Take care of one another.
That's right. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit this, hit that. Tell your mom, tell your dad. If you like the segment, share it with somebody you love. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bye.